seconds into the match. He hit him with a hard right, deep sprawl. He's got that neck. He's out.
I see.
He completely
that was amazing.
choked.
Listen to the crowd here at Stage AA. The crowd comes to life here because this is Dempsey Guard. He's probably more or less just using her as a ticket.
Carbohydrates, come on, carbs, you need that energy.
This is a 3-round fight, 5-minute rounds for the vacant Gladiator of the Cage 205 light heavyweight title. Let's have Jessica and Emily. Let's see those belts, ladies. It is a vacant title here. 3 5-minute rounds. All fights are sanctioned by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission. Fighting out of Gilbert Grappling in Lockport, Illinois, with a record of 24-20, weighing in at 204 pounds. In the blue corner, Rob the Destroyer Morrow. Fighting out of Mark Jericho Academy with a record of 12-5. Weighing in at 205 pounds, recently on The Ultimate Fighter Season 14. Also with the Bellator fighting system. Ladies and gentlemen, in the red corner, Daniel the Dragon Spohn. Referee Chip Snyder residing over the match.
Chip gonna give these guys the rules.
Okay, you guys are fighting for the Gladiators of the Cage light heavyweight belt. I want a clean, fair fight. I want you to obey me at all times. Any questions, red? Any questions, blue? Touch gloves, go back.
Here we go.
Daniel Spohn fought a guy that's currently on The Ultimate Fighter, isn't it? Josh Stansbury went. Didn't he fight him? He fought him twice, and he's has a 1-1 record with him.
And that's a fight that they both want to have and have that rubber match. Remember, this fight, guys, is for the 205-pound professional title in Gladiators of the Cage.
That's light heavyweight?
That is light heavyweight, correct, Dan? This is for the light heavyweight world championship. The winner of this can call themselves the 205-pound Gladiator champion of the world.
Both southpaws here. Let's take a note on that. And Daniel Spohn, he just landed a nice leg kick on Morrow. And this is actually surprising for Morrow. He's kind of starting slow. He's usually right off the get. I mean, he usually starts throwing hands right away.
Morrow has shown a lot of power. He seems to load up on a lot of his punches and throw a lot with power. Spohn seems to be maybe a little more crisper of a striker and a little more elusive, mixing his game up a little bit more. But these guys at 205 pounds, these are big 205ers. I mean, these are big guys. They could both fight heavyweight, and I believe at points have fought heavyweight.
I think Morrow's last fight was at heavyweight.
Against Rumsey, correct. And so these guys could really go even up a weight class, but here they want this 205-pound belt. We want to thank Morrow. He come in on a little short notice, taking the replacement, and always, you know, if you need somebody to fight, Morrow's going to fight. You could call him up and say, I have a fight for you tomorrow. He'd take it.
I don't know why you would say that. Yeah, with a 24-20-1 record, he seems to be like a little hesitant to fight.
I'm pretty sure you could call him up at 3 in the morning and say, hey, would you like to fight at 4:30 this morning? And he would probably grab his gear, come down, and be like, let's do this. He is the epitome.
I'll pass on that.
Yeah, he's the epitome of a fighter. I love his style. Good job by Spohn tying him up. Morrow staying in close, trying to get some head control and get a little positioning. Spohn doing a good job staying close, keeping his head tucked to the body of Morrow so those elbows aren't really of much effect.
As you see, Morrow is throwing those elbows. It's good he's taking advantage of that.
Beautiful.
Spohn picks him up with a
Spohn.
nice takedown.
Lots of strength there. Spohn showing his power and his takedown ability. And notice how he circled him and got Morrow's head facing the cage, away from the cage. That way Morrow's not able to get his head up there or push off the cage. He's got him in the other direction, and he wants to start working some ground and pound, it appears. A lot of times you can use that cage as a great weapon, and sometimes you can use it as, it becomes your greatest enemy, because it allows your opponent to maybe scoot his butt up against that cage and get up easier. Some guys like to turn him away from the cage. Some guys like to turn him towards the cage.
I'll thank you to leave my butt out of this conversation, but
what in your experience, Rich, and with your training, how do you like to push the guy up against the cage and use that cage as pressure, or does it depend on the fighter you're fighting?
I would much rather push their neck against the cage, take their hips away.
Also would affect the
It's
breathing.
a little
Once
bit-
put your chin on your own
Well, as soon
chest.
as you put your chin up there and you take the neck away, your hips go away, and you can't really move your hips too well. And I'm only saying that because I was also on the reverse end with my neck against there, and it's not pleasant.
Really rough to see
You lose
that.
your face open very easily, too.
Maybe we get Charlie to do that to you later. I'd like to see that.
What,
Anyway.
Us wrestle against the cage?
Yes. Yes.
He don't want that.
I'm a very fragile man anymore. I'm going home to my cat and my dog, and I'm going to bed.
Well, you're getting up there. You're getting up there in age. Interesting
Easy.
fact about Robert Morrow at 30 years old, he also has 5 kids.
Exactly. 5 kids,
He
and
has
he's a pro fighter.
5 kids.
That's a nice segue.
5 kids, 45 fights.
Spawn's
This is a
starting
busy human being.
Yeah, Spawn's starting to get through on some big punches. Morrow needs to start working and do exactly what he's doing. He needs to create space here. He cannot keep taking these shots. Spawn's a big boy at 205, really tall, a lot of power, and he has those long legs, so he can really reach into those punches and get a lot of weight down on those shots.
Well, Spawn's doing a nice job as he's standing, and for him to go in, he's not just going straight in because there's always those up kicks. He's pushing his hips forward first and then coming down with a punch.
Yeah. Less than 1 minute to go in round 1 of this light heavyweight title bout. It seems to be all Daniel Spohn controlling, positioning, and working some very effective ground and pound on Robert Morrow.
It looks like there's some blood. I can't tell from which because there's elbows being thrown. It looks like it's coming from Morrow, but I can't really tell at this moment.
In that positioning, it could be dripping off of Spawn on tomorrow, but I think you're right, too. You never know.
You never know.
Stand corrected.
That's why it's so dangerous with elbows. It's just that quick. You could be cut open.
I like the fact that Morrow, even though he's on the bottom, is working those short elbows. Why not take advantage of, hey, if I can't get up, I'm going to hit you.
He's throwing nice elbows. Both of
They
them are
might be
taking
both
advantage.
Big power from Spawn. He rocked
Spawn
him a
heard
couple
that 10
times.
seconds, and he just went off.
Well, it doesn't seem like there's much opening of the guard tomorrow, and what that means is, fight fans, most of you guys out there will already know, but when the man that's on the bottom crosses his ankles on the bottom around your back, that's called a closed guard. When he starts opening those legs up, he's generally looking for a sweep or to create distance or possibly a submission. Morrow seemed to be very content in closing that guard and riding that out. If I'm the fighter on top, that's a green light for me to start throwing some heavy leather from the top because I don't have to worry about those legs coming up for an arm bar or a triangle choke.
What if he's squeezing?
You know, it really...
Because your legs are stronger than your arms.
It is, and you know what, that's a very good point because most of the time your legs are around the hip area to control.
They start to get up into the side on those short ribs
you
or
start
whatever.
getting on those floating ribs, the short ribs, exactly right. You can cause a lot of pain,
It's
actually.
like a python. As you exhale,
very much so.
squeeze, and there goes your air.
The thing about that, though, when you're on the guy, when you're on top, you usually can move your positioning and get to those legs down further on the hips just by moving forward or backward.
Or scoot up forward, further up, possibly if you have the room to do it.
Precisely. The whole key there is to keep your opponent on top, moving to try to create space and separation. Look for the submission or look for a chance to get up. Morrow was a little too content for me to lay there and take the punches. I did like the fact, though, that he at least threw his own arsenal of elbows from the bottom.
I'm looking here for a little more stand-up, a little more hands being thrown from Robert Morrow.
Well, my question being also, if you're in the corner, Rich, and you're talking to Spawn, are you going to tell him to do anything different than that first round or try to take the fight to the ground again? Spawn's calling him in.
I like that. He called him right back.
I think he's baiting him to get that takedown. I think he wants him to take a step in, and he's going to try to shoot as soon as he does it.
Absolutely. Daniel Spawn did a nice job. Last one, he was mixing in some punches and some kicks, closed the distance, had a big takedown, and just rode it out the whole time. I see him doing the same thing.
I think Morrow's saying, I'm standing right here in the middle. You come back to me, but I understand. I'll thank you to not do that.
Much respect for wanting to keep it in the middle because
Right.
it is exciting, but they're both trying to just bait each other into doing what they want to do.
Human chess match, once again.
It's game plan. It's all about game plans.
Little note here. Take a look at Morrow on your left in the green trunks. Take a look how flat-footed he's standing. See how he's not on the balls of his foot?
Oh,
big shot by
And he's not on the balls of
right.
his feet anymore, his feet at all.
And there's what I'm talking about. He got flat-footed. He lost his movement. And exactly at that point, that's when Spawn capitalized. And that's why footwork is so imperative and so important. And right on cue there, he come over there. If I'm in the corner, I'm doing the exact same thing. Look, his footwork is flat, meaning he's loading up. He wants to throw a power shot, but he doesn't have the mobility now to slip the punches. And Spawn timed it perfectly. He was waiting to do that, threw that big overhand, and now is the 205-pound champion in Gladiators of the Cage. Congratulations, Daniel Spawn.
What a tough match for Robert Morrow to walk into. And like you just said, Daniel Spohn was just capitalizing on just one mistake.
Let's take a look at this replay. Once again, brought to you by Maestro's Barbershop, and watch this powerful left hand. Drops Morrow completely. He's really out of it. And then look how fast Chip come in there. Beautiful job of coming in there and stopping that fight. And great work by Spohn, timing that with a 1-2. Morrow got flat-footed, and that's all it took. Spohn with a quick, straight right, overhand left, KO, and man, whew, that's a contender for KO of the night.
That is definitely a contender. We're seeing some knockouts today. It's going to be a really hard to judge on which one.
What an exciting night of fights. What an exciting night of fights so far. And just to think we have two big fights, our co-main event and our main event coming up. And we've all been very much waiting for the co-main event and the welcoming back of our native son, Chris Dempsey, as he journeyed the world of mixed martial arts and is back. But I think we are ready for the official announcement of our new light heavyweight champion. Let's go to Frank Murgy.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 104 of the second round, by TKO the winner, and the new Gladiators of the Cage light heavyweight champion, Daniel the Dragon Spohn. Jessica and Emily, you have the belt. Dan Bogan, you have the mic.
Thank you, Frank.
I'll get him.
Daniel the Dragon Spohn. Let them put the hardware on you first, sir. And Smokin' Jim Frazier said you didn't have one-punch knockout power. Really? No, I'm just teasing you. Congratulations. One punch, that's all it took.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not new to that, but at the same time, you know, I love it every time. And I want to first off thank Rob Morrow for stepping in here and taking this on short notice. Everybody give him a round of applause, please. Without him, I wouldn't have had a fight tonight. Also, I want to thank Josh Williams, my head coach. He was there the whole time for this with me. I want to thank Lance Phillips. He's one of my main training partners. Great guy. He's coming up in the ranks. You watch for him. Rick Spencer, the old man. He's like a dad to me, and I love hanging out with him, and I'm glad he was in the corner for me this time. My wife, everybody right up there. Jeff Ferguson, all those guys right up there. John Ferguson, Rachel, Sadie. She's my little sister by blood and marriage to me. So, Kyle, you too.
Congratulations, your new champion, Daniel the Dragon Spohn. Charlie and Rich, let's go back to you.
You see Daniel there with the owner of Gladiators of the Cage, one of the few glimpses we get. Robert Joseph getting a picture there. What a performance by Daniel Spohn, coming in there and setting the house on fire. Perfect timing, perfect setup, and perfect execution leads to a new champion in the Gladiators of the Cage. Our light heavyweight champion, congratulations, Daniel Spohn. Let's get one more word for our sponsors so we can get back to the action.